basketball players and just what he's meant?
Man, he was so involved with the women, like just
The
women
women's game.
basketball. So that's why I was so emotional, because how he took a step forward as being a male athlete, and knowing that how big he is and how big his career was, for him to impact the women, which many male athletes don't do. So that's why it affected me.
You know, the last 5 years, he's probably been one of the leading professional sports athletes to recognize the importance of women's sports. I know that there's a lot of things that people will say about him and his past, but I'm so glad we don't all get judged on certain number of acts, and they can remember you for what you've done recently. Nobody in the NBA has done more than what he had done. Our kids were equally as taken back when they learned that his daughter was in the flight too. That hit them hard because they've seen her at events, and he's been to the EYBL deals. It'll be one of those days they all remember. Like, we were getting ready to play Florida when we heard. Cam Newbauer told me, I was going out to the floor, and he was sitting over there, and he goes, "Have you seen Twitter?" And I said, I didn't know. And it's amazing what we find out immediate news like we do now. Michael Jackson, I found about Michael Jackson on Twitter, and now Kobe. But I think there'll be a lot of mixed emotions and feelings. It'll be interesting to talk to our kids, because he's kind of the one this generation has grown up as the icon, the debate of him to Jordan. You know, for me, it was Jordan to Julius Erving. For them, it was Kobe to Jordan. So I haven't really got a chance to talk to any of the kids other than Amber just briefly and Lex. But I'll tell you this, it affected them. It affected them. And I wish, you know, again, you can't hide kids from anything these days. So I'm proud that they were able to compartmentalize that. And we'll deal with it the next couple of days.
It's it's devastating, really for all sports, because everybody, knew Kobe. I mean, he went by one name. I mean, that's what everybody knew him by, and he's an icon in sports. And I don't think in my lifetime that there's ever been, you think of of deaths that impacted our nation, like JFK, Martin Luther King, Elvis Presley. Michael Jackson. Those were huge moments in history that everyone remembers where they were when they heard the news. And this is like really the first time a sports figure has been like this. This is a big deal in America, because he touched so many people, and he was, he's just an icon. I mean, everyone loved how he played. He always did things the right way. He was never, he did so many things good, and he was a great player. And there's not been really probably anybody better than him to me, other than maybe Michael Jordan. And for him to die so young and to die tragically like this in an accident, that's devastating. And what really it'll impact is, I think back to all of our former players. For years, from when I coached high school to coaching at different universities, your players always loved Kobe. Or you might have some that didn't like Kobe, and they all want to talk about it, and everyone had their opinions and dissecting a player's game and what they did great, and they don't do this as good. And, players all had an opinion, and coaches and fans all had their opinions on his game and what they liked and what they didn't like. He was, he was someone that everyone talked about, and obviously, I mean, very impactful. I mean, everyone today, I think, is just shocked. I feel for these kids that are, they're having to play tonight or this afternoon, or NBA players that have to play tonight. That's hard to do when you get this kind of news. I was going to our women's basketball game today, and just right before I left, I just pulled my phone out, and TMZ had just reported that, and I just sat down in the chair and, for like 30 minutes, just sat there stunned. And, you knew it was probably true, because when reports like this come out, they're hardly ever false. I don't really have ever heard of one false, unfortunately. So as soon as I saw it, I figured it was true, and it's just devastating. For sure, it does. And, people that, just people that love the game of basketball, and people that have followed his career, people that have, like I said, Coach Boykins that played against Kobe, and guys like, Corliss Williamson, probably the greatest Razorback of all time. And, he played against Kobe for years, and competing and getting. It's just there's so many emotions for everybody. I think most people that are a little bit younger, this was their greatest of all time. This was their guy. This was the person they saw. This is who they grew up with. You know, for me, you know, when I first heard about Kobe, he was a high school player in Pennsylvania, and just started following his career, and then, you know, he had 20 years with the Lakers, and he was so good. And I was a Michael Jordan person, so I didn't want him to be too good at times, but he just won, and he was such a great player. And then it seemed like his legend just continued to grow even after he retired, just because of how he conducted himself with his wife, his daughters, and, you know, it's, you know, the video that was just out just a few days ago of him kind of showing his daughter something on the basketball court while they're sitting there watching an NBA game, and he was teaching her and talking to her. You know, that's just really sad, really, really sad to see now. But, you know, he was a big time influence in all of sports.